Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining today. We're excited to chat with you all. We'll give people one more minute to join and then we'll get started. So I'm Courtney Scarborough. I'm Deputy Director here at NCEAS, and Heather Lahr here is a project manager here at NCEAS too. So we'll be running the show today. And basically, we have a few slides, like around, I don't know, between 20 and 30 slides we're going to go through with you about the Gulf Ecosystem Program, about applying, about what makes for a good working group, those type of details. And then we hope to save some time at the end, a significant amount of time at the end, just for any questions. Because that's really why we're here is to make sure we answer all the questions you all have, make sure you all feel confident in what this program's all about and how to write a great proposal for this program. So I think we can get started. Just to let you all know, we are in webinar mode, so we can't hear or see you, but we have a Q&A. We have the Q&A enabled, so you can write any questions you have throughout the process in there, and we will answer them as they are asked, as needed, and then at the end, we can do more in the Q&A section as well. So let's just get started. Let me share my screen here, and we'll get going. Okay, thanks. Thanks for being here. I'm Courtney Scarborough again, Deputy Director here at NCEAS. And I will be showing you my screen here today about our call for proposals. And this is going to be about both working groups and postdocs, because we will be hiring most likely 2 postdocs and funding at least 2 working groups this round. So excited to be here and excited to chat with you all. Okay, so our agenda today is first, we'll just give you a little bit of background about the program, and then we'll talk about what synthesis science working groups are, what makes for a good synthesis science working group, and what kinds of projects you should be thinking about when you're thinking about a synthesis science project as part of the GEI program. We'll talk about the postdoc call and show you some of the current postdocs. We currently have 4 Gulf ecosystem postdocs here at NCEAS, and we're hoping to add 2 more. And then we'll go through how to apply, how we evaluate applications, and then how you can stay updated and get to some questions. So let's just jump in. So the Gulf Ecosystem Program is a partnership between us here at NCEAS and our partners at the NOAA Restore Science Program. And it's really here to fund synthesis science, both with working groups and with postdocs. So now that so much work has been done in the Gulf through the Restore program on the groundwork, the Restore program is excited to start to synthesize and get more emphasis on synthesis of the information and synthesis of the time and the spatial patterns that are happening in the Gulf. So we really hope these working groups are scientists and decision makers collaborating from the very beginning to come up with the idea and then execute it to solve pressing questions across the Gulf of Mexico. And here at NCEAS, we're excited, especially excited for 2025 because it is our 30th anniversary. So we were actually the first synthesis center ever funded by the National Science Foundation, NSF, 30 years ago. And since then, over 20 other synthesis centers around the world have based their models on what we do. So we'll be doing a lot of celebrating of synthesis science next year, celebrating new initiatives, and hopefully bringing more and more science here to NCEAS to really keep synthesis going and add some new and exciting pieces to the synthesis world. So over these 30 years, we've published over 3,200 scientific papers. We've supported almost 200 postdocs now, and we have a lot of really high profile publications. And, 70 countries, 8,000 researchers have come through the doors here at NCEAS to work on science together. So NCEAS has had a pretty big impact on the ecological community. We really help shift the paradigm from individual researchers working, on their own computers to collaboration and open science being really key to how we get science done. And we're really proud of that, and we'll be celebrating more of that next year. So for the Gulf Ecosystem Initiative, we have done two calls and two annual calls so far. So this 2025 call will be our third call for proposals. So we are currently funding four different working groups, two that were funded in 2023 on fisheries and offshore wind, and then another one on fisheries and ecosystem response to severe weather. And we have funded two more for 2024, and these two groups haven't met yet, but they will be meeting for the first meeting soon. One is on fish distribution shifts, and the other is on restoring habitat in Florida's estuaries. So we're excited to get these two started, and we have a really good, I think, portfolio of diverse projects right now, and we're excited to keep expanding kind of what types of projects come to NCEAS through this program with the NOAA Restore program to really help management science that is in service of management. So what are working groups? What is synthesis science? And what are we really trying to make happen through this program? Synthesis science, let's kind of like start from the very beginning. Synthesis science is really the act of combining data, theories, and tools to gain new insights and answer new questions using existing data. So it's really well suited when there's a broad base of existing data, like there is in the Gulf, and really large scale questions that need to be answered. So the Gulf is really primed for more and more synthesis, I think, to happen. And it's great at helping researchers untangle what is known and unknown in a field, which opens doors to solving real world problems. So synthesis is great at bringing diverse perspectives, diverse data, diverse ideas together and kind of working through them to get to a new, novel explanation, answer, understanding of what's going on in the system. So NCEAS, as I mentioned, was the first synthesis center funded by NSF back in 1995, and it really led to a cultural shift in the ecological community towards promoting open synthesis through convening working groups and training the next generation of ecologists, environmental scientists, kind of interdisciplinary scientists in this environmental realm. So over the last 30 years, sociologists have actually spent quite a bit of time at NC studying the scientists themselves to sort of determine like what is the secret sauce that has made the working group model and made the science that comes out of NC's so successful. And what they've found is that really compared to independent scientists or remote research collaborations, when synthesis science is happening with diverse teams that come together in a neutral meeting space like NC's, outside of their home institutions, outside of their daily demands on their professional life, on their personal life, when you can really come and sit in a room with a diverse group of people and chat through these ideas and really focus your time and energy over a few days here at NC's, it can really allow you to dive more deeply and creatively into the scientific questions at hand. And then the fact that we have this resident support, NCEAS offers, we lower this activation energy required for doing science. We provide logistical support, computing capabilities, complex data management, informatics expertise, and advice on leadership and facilitation of synthesis teams. And we also provide facilitation for teams themselves. So it's really key kind of to have all of that support, have people here in person together, and it really leads to higher levels of trust and faster generation of ideas, which in turn generates higher publishing productivity, higher output of management relevant science that can really, start to make on the ground differences. So when we bring our working groups together, which are our teams, often most often 12 to 16 people, and they all come together in a room, it really does add up to more than the sum of its parts. And it's been shown through various, actual studies of the working group process. But when you go through a working group process, you really do feel the difference of the science that comes out of it. So for this specific program for the Gulf Ecosystem Initiative, we are looking for science that fits into three broadly defined themes that the NOAA Restore program is really focused on advancing in the Gulf. So the first is climate change, the second is fisheries, and the third is ecological impacts to management. So we're really looking, those are broad categories. And as you're thinking about your project, you don't need to define like our project specifically fits into this climate change category. It's great if they fit into one. It's great if they fit into all. We just want to make sure that the projects kind of address one or more of these themes so that we make sure that we're kind of fulfilling the mandate that we have and that NOAA Restore has to make science come out of these projects that is relevant to the decision making that needs to happen. So don't like confine, don't feel like you need to say, we are in the climate change category or we are in the fisheries category. Just make it clear as you're thinking about your proposal and writing your proposal that your work does fit within the scope of what we are looking for. And I really like to tell people sort of what is an ideal working group? Like what types of questions really are ideal for working groups? And to me, there are kind of like two key things that I think make for a great group, but also make for a satisfying working group for the individuals involved. And like I think of if you have a project that you've been thinking about for a long time that you've been wanting to investigate with some collaborators in different agencies or some collaborators at different universities, and you've just never had the resources to bring all those people together to kind of get the ideas out in person, like this is the time to propose something like that. And then it's also really advantageous if the topics that you're addressing in your working group you're already working on as part of your job. So working group outcomes should help you get your job done better. We want this to be something that is, something you're excited about, something your team is excited about, something you all want to address and just haven't had the opportunity. We want this to be that opportunity. And we don't want it to feel like extra work that you're doing. We want it to feel like an opportunity to get the work done that you've always wanted to do and needed to do. And this is a great way to make it more interdisciplinary, more across organization, across agency. And there just often aren't that many funding opportunities for things like that are cross organizational, cross agency, cross disciplinary. So we want this to be that opportunity for you all. So when we do fund a working group, we fund meetings. So all the travel expenses are covered by NCEAS. We fund training, so teams can participate in collaborative open data science trainings, communication trainings, facilitation trainings, project management trainings. And we have sort of a suite of trainings that we offer throughout the year to all working groups. And then we can also tailor trainings to your project needs as they arise. So if you have ideas about how NCEAS can help you train up your group to advance their skills while you're a part of this working group, we would love to be able to help in that way. We also offer IT, computing, tech, communication support here while you're working and then also in between meetings as needed. And then we also have facilitation support and advice. So we have professional facilitators here at NCEAS that can help facilitate your meeting, help you get your agenda together. And then we can also sort of support you throughout the process. If you have questions, we can help you tailor, agendas, how you want to meet, the questions you want to ask, whether you're in plenary all the time or when you want to include breakout groups, those types of things. And we also offer facilitation trainings. So how to do a successful scientific working group type trainings. Speaking of trainings, there are a few different types of trainings I just mentioned, but we're really focusing on how to collaborate as a scientific team across the different, kind of skills and practices needed to really make things successful. So data management, project management and facilitation, collaborating in GitHub, from coding to even just sort of making decisions in a place that's centralized and everybody can go back to the decisions that are made. GitHub is great for that, and it's not just for coders. And then things like developing and executing a communications plan. So we have kind of a starter pack of what we're calling of trainings, and then we can enhance over the 2 years of your working group how you kind of you don't just leave NCs with synthesis science products, but we hope that you leave with new skills that you can take to your next scientific endeavors too. Um, NC Space support facilitation training has been updated recently. So NC's was in the same building for like 26 years, and we moved 3 years ago. So we have a brand new facility that we got to design to be really, conducive to synthesis science. So we have a big outdoor terrace, we have a big, large classroom, multiple conference rooms, and it's all sort of centralized here in Santa Barbara, which is a really nice place to come to do science and come to do science at NCs, but also while you're out and about, going to dinners together, going to lunches together, things like that. So things we don't fund, and part of our working group model is, we're focused on bringing people together to collaborate. So we do not fund salaries. We do not fund collection of new data or field research. So we're not sending people out into the field for new information. And we don't transfer funds to be spent at individuals' home institutions. So there isn't any overhead that comes with part of this funding. We're not actually transferring. You're not going to be a sub-award. You also don't have to go through the whole review proposal process within your own university because we aren't actually transferring funds here in university. We are transferring funds to individuals. So if there's more questions about that, we can answer those. But it is really more about paying up front. NCEAS pays directly up front for things and then reimburses for anything else. So working group outcomes. We hope that there are diverse outcomes that come out of working groups. We want there to be quantitative ones, but we also want there to be, less tangible things that come out of it, obviously. But we want, products, engagement with the NCEAS community. So you can engage with our resident scientists here. We have about 60 resident scientists here at NCEAS at one time, working across environmental science fields. So we have a nice resident population here that you can present to, you can engage with, we can set up happy hours with people, kind of whatever would be helpful and exciting for you. We hope you have enhanced networks. So you not only expand your network with your working group members, but you'll have opportunities to meet other working groups at NCEAS, NCEAS residents, even residents at the rest of UCSB, which NCEAS is a part of. So we hope that this is a great opportunity for early career research to expand their network, early career researchers to expand their networks, but also senior career. We really hope this is kind of a great opportunity to expand who you interact with and what type of science you do. And we really want, like I mentioned, to increase your skill set. So advance your data science and science communication skills, advance your facilitation skills, advance your collaborative science skills, like teach you kind of how NCEAS over the last 30 years has figured out how to work better as a team to do science. And we have, 30 years of experience to share, and we really hope that we can set that up formally and informally throughout the 2 years of the working group. So here's just a little roadmap to kind of give you a sense of what a working group looks like over 2 years. You have your pre first meeting, you're funded. So let's say with these new 2024 working groups, they found out they got funded in, I think, June or July. And we've met with them a few times to say, here's how we think you can improve your proposal before we fully fund it. The Scientific Advisory Council has suggested you make these updates. And then we've met to say, like, here's what you should be doing prior to your first meeting. So align expectations, agree to team tools, agree to team potentially even like codes of conducts and how you're going to share information. And then even start with wrangling data, getting the data together for your first meeting. Then in your first meeting, you want to refine your questions and you want to develop a plan for the rest of your 2 years together. And in between in-person meetings here at NCEAS, most working groups are 3 in-person meetings. And in between, there's expectations that you will kind of continue to work remotely on analysis, on communications, on just moving the project forward in between your in-person meetings. But then the in-person meetings are where you really get time to focus intently on forwarding ideas, forwarding products with efforts in between, whether that's more calls or analysis or interactions in small teams while you're remote. So over this 2-year period, we wanted to sort of outline what the working group member expectations are. So the expectations are that you will come to 3 meetings here in person with your team. So bring your team together here to really have that intensive interaction time together here, and then contribute in between meetings. So virtual meetings or analysis, writing work, things like that, that you'll communicate clearly across these 2 years with all of your team members. Agree on authorship guidelines. So, all of this is really how to make the most successful outputs as possible. So authorship guidelines, team ground rules, setting team ground rules so everybody's on the same page from the very beginning. Review and agree to NCEAS code of conduct so everybody's on the same page with regards to behavior. And you agree to fair data principles. So at the end of your project, we help you suggest places for you to make sure that your data is open and accessible for a future science to be done on it as well. So that's a summary of what a working group looks like and kind of what the expectations are. We're going to do a couple minutes here on the postdoc call, and then we'll wrap up after a few more minutes here. So our call for postdocs, there are 2 positions available, and each of these positions is a 2-year position. So it's a 2-year postdoc. It's based here at NCEAS in Santa Barbara. And when we talk about this postdoc position, it is sort of a 50-50 breakdown in terms of the work expectation. So 50% of your time is spent on independent research. So you propose a project that you want to be working on that's related to the 3 themes that we mentioned in the Gulf. And then 50% is focused on being a part of a working group and supporting that working group to get those products successful. So the postdocs are selected separately from the working groups. And then after everyone is selected, there's sort of a matching process that happens where postdocs and working group PIs and members sort of talk to each other and figure out how they can best interact and how they can best support each other through the 2 years of each of their projects. We also included in our budget is funding for travel to the Gulf of Mexico and conferences. So we have a nice set aside for postdocs to make sure that they're getting the opportunities to network and meet with people and get their work out there. And applications are due the same day as the working group application, so March 14th, 2025. And our current postdocs here are May, Ray, Shayna, and Li Ying. And they have been, Ray and Shayna were part of our first round of postdocs that were selected in 2023. And then May came on shortly after that. And then Li Ying just recently came on this summer. So they are all working on multiple working groups, working to be a part of and support multiple working groups and their own independent research here at NCEAS. Okay, so just getting down to the kind of nitty gritty in terms of proposal writing and how to apply. We have a proposal checklist for success that we have put together. And I know, it can be a daunting process to think about how to put a proposal together, but we really, really are excited about, making sure that this proposal process is not an onerous process, that it's really short, sweet, helps you, put your ideas, coalesce your ideas together and propose them for a working group. And we really want to make sure that, we make this as useful to you and helpful to you, this proposal process, as it can be. So we really want to make sure that we support you through this process. And if you look at the guidelines, it really is, not an onerous process, we hope. So we also want to make it as transparent as possible. So if you've never participated in a working group before, if you're an early career researcher who's interested in potentially being a part of a working group, come and talk to us. We're really excited to bring new people into this synthesis world to help people kind of navigate what a good collaborative science projects look like. So we can we can provide proposal guidance. We do provide budget templates, and we hope that the guidance we provide can help you through this process. We've recently updated all of our guidance for how to put a proposal together. So that is all on our website, and it kind of comes down to this proposal checklist for success. But we also have resources on our website about just not only how to propose a great working group, but how to run a great working group, and we can help you through that process as well. If we also have weekly office hours on Wednesdays that you can sign up for, that you can just chat with me about your ideas, chat with me about, your team members who, even if you have a small team put together and you have ideas about what other types of researchers you'd like to have, we're happy to help you kind of develop that team out a bit more. How to make sure your ideas, are best suited for a scientific working group and things like that. So if you have any questions at all, if you want to chat about process, the proposal, please sign up for office hours or just email us and we can find a time to chat if those times don't work for you. And we also, because of the funding structure, we do not, because of the funding structure, we do not, like I mentioned, we don't send funds specifically to your institution. So you don't have to go through sponsored projects approval, which is really nice. You don't have to, get things done ahead of time and make sure that it's approved through your institution. It's not kind of a traditional proposal process in that way. And we have minimal reporting requirements for your working group. So we really want people to be doing the science and getting the science done that's needed. And we want to be diversifying who does that science and who is a part of this like synthesis science community. So we really want to lower barriers to getting the proposals in and then help you make your science as successful as possible. So come talk to us about proposals or just ideas or how to run a working group. We're here to chat. So as I mentioned, we want to support you. So we've put some resources together, proposal and budget templates to help you ease your writing. It's section by section, and then the budget template is an Excel spreadsheet that you just enter your number of participants and days into, and it populates. We have proposal writing guidance document that is kind of based on, our 30 years of experience supporting working groups. We have office hours, minimal reporting requirements, so no need for approval. And in terms of evaluating proposals, we've developed 7 evaluation criteria here that focus on balancing the scientific and management innovation with group composition, diversity, and inclusion aspects that we know are really, key to scientific success. So each of these criteria are weighted equally, and we have a scientific advisory council that we bring together. They're very interdisciplinary, and they come together and review all the proposals based on these criteria and then rank all of these criteria. And then we all come together and chat through each of the proposals to talk about which ones we should put forth for funding. So it's a pretty rigorous process, and we have a pretty fantastic scientific advisory council. So it's something we've spent a lot of time on, and I think really does a good job of getting the right proposals bubbling to the top. Okay, so I think that's all the info we wanted to share with our slides, and I'll stop here and take any questions either in the Q&A or the chat. if you have questions, let us know. And I will stop sharing my screen. Okay.
Thanks, Courtney. Nothing in the chat thus far, but we'll just give people a minute to chime in if there are any pressing questions.
Yeah, and if no questions come to mind now, really do reach out via email. We can answer questions in email, we can hop on a call or sign up for office hours. Here to help. And it is kind of a long timeline before these are due. So any at any point, make sure you check in with us from here till March. And I think that proposal checklist can really be helpful in making sure, you know, the process you have for getting your proposals in really meets the criteria needed. And part of that is like, I think it is really helpful to at least come to one office hours with us to chat through your ideas. They're, half an hour slots. But I think it can really answer any little questions you have and help you sort of see the process for proposals that is necessary and also I think lower like make sure that little questions don't become get in the way of your bigger ideas.
Yeah, and on that, feel free to reach out to us. There, we do have a question, and also we have our lovely four current postdocs have expressed that they are happy to chat with any interested incoming postdocs. So if just same email address, just reach out to us, and we can connect you with an existing postdoc if you have kind of questions about their experience or what it's like working at NCEAS, all of that. The question in the chat is somewhat related, but says, hello, I am not yet graduated. I am in my second year of college, and I do not have a proposal as such, but I would like to be part of one of the research groups. Would this be possible?
So I would say come to office hours, come and chat with us about sort of your interests and what type of work you want to be doing. And we can chat through, if there's existing opportunities at NCs, or we can keep you in mind as other groups come to us and maybe they need extra support for their proposal, for their working group, and maybe start making those connections. So yeah, come and chat with us about your interests and what would be a good opportunity for you as part of this program.
No other
Okay.
questions coming up. So
Okay. Well, we will post this webinar on our website along with all the other resources that we mentioned and hope to hear from you all soon. Um, Thanks for joining and have a great week. Okay. Bye.